As a skinny young man, which I assume you are by watching this video, and as you've clicked on this video, you may not necessarily know how important diet is, and this is genuinely holding you back. The moment you realize that diet can actually get more important than the training, your progress is going to be exponential, right? The diet is like the fuel to the car, right? And the car is, you training, right? And without the fuel, you can't go anywhere. So it's like if you just train but you don't prioritize your diet, then you're not going to move the car anywhere, and that means that you're not going to be making any progress. So it's so important that you actually, you watch this video in full detail and you fully understand the importance of diet and how it can get more important than training eventually down the line. And the quicker you realize this, and the more you're going to make progression. And if you're actually serious about making progression, sculpting your physique as a skinny guy, then you need to watch until the end of this video, my friends, so you understand everything. Now, in this video, as I said, I'm going to be going over why diet is more important and can be more important than the training itself. And before I go into this, I just want to briefly introduce myself so you guys actually know who I am, right? So, my name is Ryan, and over the last 3.5 years, I've completely transformed my physique from this in 2021 to now looking like this in 2024. And I'm on a mission to inspire and help skinny young men who struggle to, sculpt their physiques in order to help them do that, right? And in order to help me change as many lives as possible, I've recently just launched my very own online free community, which helps skinny young men, you guessed it, sculpt their physiques. So if you're watching this and you're a skinny young man who, you want to sculpt your physique, but you're not too sure where to start, you may be confused, and you want some guidance in order to help you make the most efficient progress you possibly can, then the free community will be there, top in it'll be there at the very top of the description, no strings attached, completely free. As of this recording, it's not even been 2 weeks and there's already 45 members in there who are eager, and we got 45 brothers who are embarking on the exact same journey as you are. So connect with some like-minded brothers embarking on the same journey as you, and let's get big together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. And I just want to start this video off with a little disclaimer, right? If you haven't got consistent with training, and if you haven't got a consistent routine and you keep relapsing, then this video is not for you. By all means, you can watch it, but this video will come a little bit later for you down the line, right? You need to get your training consistent first before this is actually important to you, right? If you haven't got good training, then going back to that example earlier of the car and the fuel, right? If you haven't even got a car, then what's the point in buying the fuel, right? And in this case, the car is the training and the fuel is the diet. Make sure you get your training bloody consistent, and then, this is obviously going to be relatable to you. But, you can watch if you want, be my guest, but just know that if you haven't got your training consistent yet, then that is what you need to be prioritizing at the moment. Just getting into a routine, and then this video is for you. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. Now, muscle growth depends on nutrition, okay? There's only so much you can do with, solely training and not prioritizing diet, right? Because the exercise stimulates the muscle, right? The exercise, obviously, you're going to be training hard, and because of this, as a consequence, you're going to break down and you're going to micro tear the muscle fibers in your muscles as a result of you training hard, and then somehow the muscle needs to repair in order to grow. And in order to help that process of the muscle repairing be as efficient as possible, you need to be able to, you've guessed it, feed your body the right foods and the right nutritious foods in order to help this process, right? And if you don't have a good diet in place, and if you don't feed yourself and feed your muscles the nutritious foods it actually needs, then how do you think that process of your muscles repairing is going to be as efficient as possible? Therefore, how on earth do you think you're going to be able to grow as much muscle as you possibly want? You're not going to be able to. You're going to hinder your progress, right? So it's so important that you realize that muscle growth genuinely depends on nutrition. It's all good, stimulating the muscle during the exercise and training hard and all that stuff, but if you don't have the diet to back it up, then you're going to hinder your progress an unbelievable amount. And when you only focus on the exercise and you don't necessarily prioritize a diet, and you're not feeding your body and your muscles the nutritious foods it needs in order to be able to go on that process of repair and obviously, to achieve the end goal, growth, right? If you only prioritize exercise, obviously you're still going to be able to, break down your muscle fibers and your muscles and stimulate your muscles properly for exercise. That's not a problem. Your muscles will, they'll continue to be broken, down throughout you exercising and you stimulating the muscle for exercise. However, if you don't prioritize the diet and if you don't back up the training with the diet, then because you're not eating enough and you're not providing your body the right nutritious foods it needs, then you're not going to be able to feed it the nutritious foods and the nutrition it needs in order to repair and grow, right? You're going to be undergoing a constant cycle of breaking down your muscles more and more and more, stimulating your muscles more and more and more, training hard more and more and more. But because you're not backing it up, then you're not going to allow that muscle to rebuild. And as a consequence of not, you're not feeding your muscles what it needs, therefore you're not going to be able to rebuild. What's going to happen is that you're going to plateau, you're going to make little to no progress, your progress is going to be massively hindered, and the process is going to be a lot slower and a lot more painful for you. And, because you're not seeing the progress, you're going to think that things aren't working, and the chance of you quitting is going to be very likely, okay? And this is just because you're not taking care of your diet. And the moment you realize that, diet is so important and that without diet, then you're literally limiting your growth, then you're going to make exponential growth, okay? And another thing as well is that your performance in the gym is going to go down if you're not feeding your muscles the right things. As I said, they're not going to be able to repair properly, and as you're continuously breaking down and stimulating your muscles, it's not going to be able to keep up with the demands, right? You're not going to be able to repair your muscles properly and in time for example, when you hit chest next time, right? Your muscles might still be sore because you're not feeding yourself. You're not feeding yourself the right nutritious foods it needs in order to repair properly. Therefore, when you get to the next chest session, your performance is going to go down because your muscle is still going to be sore. It's not fully recovered. Therefore, you're going to be lifting lighter weights. You're not going to be able to get as many reps as you did last week. And this can also, as I said as well, bringing it back to that demotivation, right? Because your performance in the gym is going to go down, why would you want to carry on, right? Because the gym is always about, improving yourself all the time. And if you're not able to do this, and if you're plateauing and making no progress and actually regressing, then you're not going to want to do it. Therefore, the chance of you relapsing and quitting is going to be a lot higher, right? And another thing as well is that you're going to increase your chances of injury. If you're not allowing a muscle to repair fully because you're not eating what the muscle, you're not giving the muscle what it needs in order to repair, then you're going to be going into the muscle, as I said, you're going to be going into the session, sorry, as I said, with sore muscles. Therefore, you're going to keep breaking it down. Therefore, the muscle is going to be more vulnerable to injury as you've not let it repair. And if you get injured, that can also set you back like a few months and you can go back to square one and you've got to start again, right? And you don't want to be doing that. So you've got to feed your muscles the right things and the right nutritious foods in order to help the muscle rebuild and obviously grow. And you don't want to be burnt out as well. If you're not taking care of your diet and if you're not eating enough and if you're not feeding your body enough nutritious foods, then you're going to burn out and you're going to be fatigued and you're not going to want to do anything, right? And trust me, when you burn out, it's fucking bad. You'll know when you've burnt out. You won't want to get out of your bed and you won't want to do anything else but just relax, and it's the worst feeling. I personally can't say I've experienced burnout yet. I don't want to, touch wood, but I've heard that it's a very bad experience. So you've got to be able to, feed your muscles the right foods in relation to avoiding burnout and fatigue, and actually, fueling yourself up. Remember, the car and the fuel. You want to be able to provide your fuel in order to exert when you exercise, right? And obviously, as I said, you're going to plateau. Your progress isn't going to go here. It's not going to go here. Your progress is going to be here. You're going to stagnate and you're not going to get anywhere. It's going to be here. And, that's not ideal, right? And back to the metaphor that I was talking about earlier about the car and the fuel. It's literally the exact same thing, Lifting weights is like driving a car, and eating the right foods and providing your body and your muscles the nutritious foods it needs is the fuel, right? And obviously, a car without fuel can't go anywhere, and without fuel, the car can't drive anywhere. And it doesn't matter if it's a Ford or if it's a Lamborghini, right? If you haven't got any fuel, then those cars can't go anywhere. And what I mean by this is it doesn't necessarily matter how hard and how efficient you train if you can't provide and back it up with the foods, right? You could train as hard as me, but if you don't prioritize your diet like I do, and if you don't have a healthy diet like me, and if you don't provide your body the nutritious foods it needs like I do, then I'm going to make much more progress in you, and you're not going to look like me. And you may wonder why, but it's literally down to the diet, right? So you've just got to realize that diet is the limiting factor, okay? And if you don't prioritize your diet, then you're going to hinder your progress an unbelievable amount. You need to be able to feed yourself the essential nutrients. You need to be having high protein in your diet. You need to be consuming foods of high with high carbs. You need to be having your healthy fats, right? Because without the high protein, then you can't provide your body the essential amino acids that are needed in order to break down to help the muscle repair and rebuild and grow, right? Without that, that can't happen. So the rebuilding process of the muscle is going to be a lot more, it's going to take a lot longer, and you're going to be sore for a longer period of time. Therefore, you can't train as hard and you can't train as often, right? And without high carbohydrates, then you're not going to be able to replenish your glycogen stores. Therefore, you're not going to be able to go into sessions with energy. Therefore, you're not going to be able to push yourself as hard. Your performance is going to go down, and that's not what you want, right? And with the healthy fats as well, healthy fats are so important. They don't necessarily contribute directly towards muscle growth, but they help things such as balancing your hormones in your body and increasing your anabolic hormonal responses. For example, you've got your testosterone and you've got your human growth hormone, and you may have seen my previous video, but in my previous video I talked about how crucial having high testosterone levels as a man is in a correlation towards growing muscle and sculpting your physique. So literally, without these things and without feeding your body the essential nutrients it needs, then you're going to severely limit your potential and your growth in the gym. You're literally going to cap yourself here, right? Imagine, for example, there was a graph of where you saw where you're going to cap, right? You'd be shocked, because the person that actually prioritizes the diet is going to be right up here, and you're just going to be here because you're not prioritizing your diet, okay? And you literally cannot out-train, you can't out-train a shit diet, right? Even with a well-structured routine, if you're doing, for example, Chris Bumstead's routine, right? 5-time Mr. Olympia, one of the greatest, the greatest classic physique bodybuilder of all time, right? If you're doing his exact routine, but you just weren't looking after your diet, then, that's not going to help you at all, is it? You're going to think, oh, Chris Bumstead's a scam. No, mate, you're the problem, because you're not prioritizing your diet, right? If you don't eat enough in order to meet your body's energy and recovery needs, then you're going to struggle to progress. You're going to you're going to make little to none progress, if not lose muscle, right? And you're going to plateau, as I said earlier. So we've got to fix this somehow, right? And there's two main things that I want you to do and that I want you to take action on, to fix this in order to build it up really slowly, because good things don't happen overnight, they happen over time. And just like the gym, you've got to build it up slowly. You can't just dive into a really strict Chris Bumstead bulk diet, right? It doesn't work like that. You've got to slowly build up over time. You've got to start slow, and then the more consistent you get, the more you build it up. Because if you can't even stay consistent with the tiniest, if you can't stay consistent with really little low demanding stuff, then what makes you think that you can stay consistent with really high demanding stuff? So you've got to slowly build it up. And the first thing I want you to do is to increase your protein intake in your diet just a little bit for now, and then you slowly increase it the more and more consistent you get. And this is because, as I said, protein and having high protein in your diet provides those essential amino acids that break down inside your muscles, and obviously that aids the recovery process and repairing your muscles and rebuilding your muscles. Therefore, you can train more, your muscles are going to recover quicker, and this is obviously going to inevitably lead to muscle growth eventually, right? So increase your protein intake. Have your protein shakes, have your eggs, have your meat, have your chicken, have your fish, right? Just increase your protein intake no matter what you do, and you'll see tremendous improvements just from doing that. And then as you're doing that as well, simultaneously, I want you to start eating in a caloric surplus, and this is tailored towards a skinny young man. So if you're overweight, then don't do this. But as a skinny young man, if you want to build muscle, and if you actually want to take it to the next level, and if you're actually serious about it, then you've got to bulk. Therefore, you've got to eat in a caloric surplus, right? And I'll briefly explain what a caloric surplus is. So a caloric surplus is when you eat more than what your body actually needs in order to grow. So for example, you eat more food than what your body would need to stay at the same weight. So for example, if your maintenance calories for the day was 2,000 calories, in order to gain weight, you'd probably eat between 2,250 to 2,350 calories. Because you're eating more than what your body needs. Therefore, your body's going to have to adapt to that. Therefore, you're going to start to, going to start to gain weight, right? So it's so important that you eat in a caloric surplus, and without a caloric surplus as a skinny guy, then it's going to be very, very hard for you, and you're literally not going to be able to build muscle, right? And I won't necessarily go into too much detail because I have made a whole different video on my YouTube channel about it. I'll leave it in the cards somewhere for you guys in order to, in order for you guys to dive into after this video. But that marks the end of this video. So take action on those two things. Increase your protein intake and start eating a caloric surplus, and watch my video. I'll leave it in the cards somewhere, as I said. Now, that marks the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys have enjoyed and you've truly learned something about how diet is just as important, if not more important, at a certain stage in your gym journey than, the actual training itself, and how if you don't prioritize your diet, then you're genuinely going to hinder your progression and you're not going to be able to fulfill your potential. However, if you did prioritize your diet, then you're going to exponentially grow and you're going to show yourself some levels, mate. So if you have enjoyed and truly learnt something from this video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could drop a like, a comment and a subscription down below, because first of all, it really helps me reach more skinny young men like you, and secondly, you can learn from me more, because the algorithm's going to recommend my videos to you more. And I upload 3 times a week, so you don't want to be missing out on that. And as I said at the beginning of the video, if you're a skinny young man in search of connecting with more people just like you, embarking on the same journey as you, and if you want some more guidance on making progression, and if you want to make progression more efficiently, and if you're actually serious about this stuff, then the link to my free community is going to be the top one in the description. I'll be looking forward to seeing you inside. So without further ado, I will see you in the next video.